Okay, so we try to harvest every day first thing before the sun comes up. Why do we do that, Lori?
Why? Well, because the plants like greens really appreciate being cool, so you don't really want to pick them once the day has heated up, because all greens tend to get a little droopy inside during the day, and then they perk up in the cool of the night. So right the first thing in the morning is the best time to get them.
Right, and today is especially nice because it's 56 degrees currently, and so they're going to be maybe even that much nicer and that much more tender. And we planted this bed very thick with the intention of doing exactly what we're doing, and that is to basically pull out entire plants until we eventually get like a 6-inch or so spacing. And once we have that, we'll have larger plants, but probably during that time we'll start a second succession somewhere in a shady spot in the yard where they can stay cooler.
We eat all of this.
Yeah.
Like, we even eat the flowers. These are kind of a little spindly, but
Yeah.
pull them off. And
Those are the ones we're pulling, are the more
yeah.
kind of... Here, can you show that closer? Just, the sun is a little intense, but... So, and we don't necessarily eat all the stem.
No, not all of the stem, but towards the top where it's really tender you can.
Right.
But there's...
And the flowers are really nice and spicy. They have a nice kick. Sorry, I interrupted you.
That's okay. And I like to kind of cut off my roots before I put them in a basket, so
yeah, these
feel less dirt in the house. Oops.
Yep. And these need really minimal like washing or anything, which is much better to you don't want to wash. Isn't that like where B vitamins come from? Is from in the soil organisms, and they splash up during a rainstorm or whatever onto plants. And in fact, that's how cows get the B vitamins, right? Is from soil splashed onto grass, which they eat without washing. So the less washing you can do, the better. And these have very little pests as well. We haven't found any insects. Really? Any?
No, actually, on the mustard, no.
Huh.
And I'm glad, because it is one of my favorite greens.
Yeah, and they're really good. They're good cooked. They're good raw.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can see we're trying to get just a nice spacing. So if you look in here, and you can see all these individual plants. And what I personally do, and Lori may do it differently, but I'll see, this is a nice big plant right here. Quit focusing on my arm. So what I'll do is I'll take all the plants around that within 4 to 6 inches. And sometimes that's based on, well, I like this red one and I want to have a nice mix of greens and reds. So sometimes it's dictated on the color
This is a nice one.
of the plant.
Another thing to mention is that whenever you sow densely like this, some plants are going to naturally, they're all like genetically like a little bit different, and some of them aren't going to bolt as fast. So you're kind of almost leaving your not strongest plants, but your
latest bolting
slowest
plant.
bolting,
Yeah.
which generally is a good thing for gardeners. Gardeners generally look for slow to bolt varieties, so within everything that you planted, you'll wind up leaving behind the ones that are the most tolerant to heat. And then at the end of the season, if you wanted to save seeds, you're saving seeds from the most heat-tolerant plants that you have.
Right. Yep. And the reason for that is a lot of people, they say when things bolt, they become more bitter. And I don't really mind the taste of things once they bolted. So, but still, it's a practice a lot of people do. So we're taking all the early bolting plants. We're, number one, not letting them go to seed by pulling them and cutting them, and were we to save the seed of these, which we sometimes do.
Ooh, that sun's getting hot.
The sun is getting hot. I need to take the sweater off.
I'm gonna have to take my sweatshirt off. That happened really quick.
Okay. Good job. Goodbye.